Hey everybody, Dr. Kramer at Hope Upper Cervical Spine Center. And today I wanted to take a little bit of time to dissect a very interesting paradigm that has really been brought to my attention regarding the level of navigating healthcare from a social media influencer perspective. And it's really fascinating when you can pull back the curtain, right? Like in the metaphorical Wizard of Oz, where they pull back the curtain, they find out the wizard is really just a decrepit old man and not this booming presence. And get a chance to actually look behind the window of what is happening in these influential markets. And as social media has trended upwards, we have also had a rise in artificial intelligence. We've also had a rise in targeting and marketing skills that have allowed you to utilize technology to frame a narrative to drive consumer action, right? If you're old enough like myself, you can remember print media where, if you did some marketing extent, it was very expensive to print. You would make an ad and you would have to wait, maybe 90 days to make the new ad, right? However, with marketing as it stands today, especially from a healthcare perspective, you can jump on and you can get fed information at the quickest snap of a finger, right? You can just scroll and scroll. You can watch on TikTok a 30-second video. You can watch a 15-second video or a clip on your news feed on Facebook. You can look at it in the stories or whatever it is, right? And this is where I want to get into the nuts and bolts of really what's behind the curtain. Because you are going to have a curated version that is shown to you on social media, and that is going to give an appearance of what health looks like. And then you are going to pull back the curtain and have the truthful, dark reality of what that looks like, right? And I think the really fascinating piece that has captured my attention with this is seen in the patient experience when the normal person comes into our practice. And oftentimes I can judge, and this is, a terrible thing for me to say, but what you've been watching based upon the responses you give to our intake paperwork, right? Many people may come in and believe that, if you have an upper cervical problem, you only need one adjustment and you'll hold that visit for the rest of your life. Well, I know you've been on Snapchat, you've been watching either a Blair or a Nuka doc, and you've been following them give you this false promise of the idea that you're going to hold a visit forever, right? There's this other alternative that you might be coming in thinking that, hey, yeah, doc, it may take us 8 weeks, 12 weeks. These are designed for me to expose where it is that your knowledge base is, as well as to really get your comfort level and understanding what the expectations are from a reality perspective. And so nothing is more clear to me than if you've actually had to go through a surgery, right? Many times people look at surgery and they're like, we see the Grey's Anatomy version. You may see the, if you're my parents' age, the General Hospital version, nip tuck if you're in my idea here in my age bracket. But in this, what would happen is you watch the surgery and then all of a sudden, magically the next day, the person's upright. They're saved. The surgeon did his job. Everything is wonderful. But nothing's further from the truth, right? Because then you have to watch the actual healing process that TV and media do so good at not showing you, right? So let's say you have a knee surgery. We know it's going to take you 6 months to a year to fully recover back to athletic capability, right? Let's say you have a stomach bariatric surgery. They tell you it's a year recovery. And for many of us, we can't wrap our mind around the idea of the time span that a year is committed to. This is the idea of curating something, providing a false reality, right, versus the actuality of truth. So what I would like to say to you today, and what kind of message I want to leave you with, is that if you are viewing social media to gather healthcare knowledge, that can be a very, very good thing, right? We have the birth of the cold plunge. We have the birth of the IR saunas. We have people working through intermittent fasting. We have people getting great results on carnivore diet or paleo diet, right? Nothing is more amazing than having a community of people that can say, hey, listen, I have tried this specific combination in my life and it has yielded this fruit. The part that I want us to be wary of is that if it looks like a pig, or if it smells like a pig but looks like a cow, right? Something like that, it's probably fake, especially when it comes to actually rendering services within the chiropractic sphere. And many of you have seen these videos of guys just yanking on necks, putting amplified cracks into people, half-naked chicks on tables. It's actually ridiculous and insulting to the profession. Our biggest goal, our biggest opportunity is to restore normal neurological function. That's what that is. For many of you, you're going to question that and say to yourself, what the heck does that mean? It's very simple. My nervous system controls the human body, period. If the nervous system is malfunctioning, it means that there needs to be an adjustment to that system. Now, many of you know how to do this, right? You do it with breathing techniques because you're looking at how to take care of my vagus nerve. You look at it from the idea of ocular motor reflexes by taking your thumb and following it to train your vestibular system, right? All of these are outside-in approaches that may give you temporary relief. However, the truth that's not being shown on the camera, right, that is behind the curtain, is that 99% of the time, you have an upper cervical subluxation, sits at the back of your neck, right? And you have to manage a case through life. The problem that we run into is that we have this false idea, this curated reality, that we can achieve a cure. Cures are really full of shit. It is a lie. It's not true, right? Truth is that you have to perpetually, habitually discipline yourself to make conscious steps that are focused on how you pursue the version of health that you desire. If you want to be fat, sick, and nearly dead, lay on the couch and binge watch TV all day long and blame all your problems on society, that is your decision. Good for you, right? You're going to become a burden to everybody around you. You'll be a burden to the healthcare system. You'll develop chronic disease, and you'll wonder why nobody could ever fix you. However, if you're going to change your lifestyle and start pursuing a habitual discipline, right? Waking up early. How much phone time do you consume? How much effort do you put into walking or being active on a daily basis? What type of nutrition do you feed the system of your body? What level of knowledge base are you developing on your mind, right, on a daily basis? All of these are ideas or are things that would be behind the curtain, right? Because let's all be true. On social media, you're seeing the curated version, the AI version, the most perfect version, the filtered, the mocked up, the elemented version of self. We all know that's not true. We all know that it's a lie. And if you don't know that, shame on you. Because the goal of humanity is to be within a real community of real people that are actively pursuing something that will transform their life for the better. The best way to do that is through actually being present with other people. So today's guide or today's hesitation for you is be aware of what is appearance and what is reality. As the world becomes more adapted to artificial intelligence, there will be more and more curated lies to influence you to spend your money to make somebody rich. Be sure that you vet your sources and you actually understand what the clinical expectations and outcomes are as it relates to healthcare decisions that you make in order to advance the needle on the quality of health in your life.